I was at an evening of reflection last night in my own parish, and I found myself telling a story that I had forgotten happened maybe, it could be 12, 13 years ago. I had just started a new job as pastor of St. Joseph's Parish in the West End. It was my very first Christmas, and I wanted the church to be perfect. And so a couple of weeks before, myself and a group of parishioners went on a cleaning spree. And we cleaned parts of the church that some of the parishioners didn't even know we had. We found them, we cleaned them. The whole place was spotless, shined up, beautiful. Christmas Eve morning, I wandered over to the church all by myself just to sit there and pray a while. And as I sat in the church, I looked up at the back and I could see that in one of the chandeliers, one light bulb was out. Just one. But I could notice it. And it didn't look as perfect as I wanted the church to look. And I figured, how could I get up there? It was up in the choir loft, coming down from the ceiling. And I said, leave it alone, a little voice said. Leave it alone, no one will notice. Then the other voice said, yeah, but you notice and other people will notice. You want it to be good. You want the church to be good. So I took a deep breath. I grabbed a light bulb. I went up to the choir loft. So here I am, the only priest in the parish, Christmas Eve morning, and I'm balancing on the ledge of the choir loft. I reached for the light and I changed it. I forgot that it happened. Except that I wanted to be talking about reaching for the light. At the end of my evening last night, I went back home and I prayed the readings for Mass this morning, as I often do. And I could see that yet, once again, the readings are about the light. The light that we've been given by Jesus so that we can help him as part of our mission, as part of living our baptism, so that we can help him light the world. In a very real way, that's what Saint Barnabas did. I've always enjoyed the story of Saint Barnabas, not necessarily because he helped convert the nations or bring the word for the first time to a group of people that had never heard the word before, but it's what he did behind the scenes. His original name, I believe, was Joseph, and his name was changed to Barnabas because of what Barnabas means. You know what Barnabas means, translated? Son of encouragement. He encouraged Paul in the very beginning to get out there and begin to preach. Remember, Paul was a little nervous. After Paul went through his conversion, he was working against the apostles. The Christian community didn't exactly love him very much. And he was a little nervous to get out there, a little nervous to place himself with the apostles. You might remember that he referred to himself all the time as the least of the apostles. Barnabas encouraged him, reminding him that it wasn't a mistake that he fell off his horse. It wasn't a mistake that he was blinded by the light. It wasn't a mistake that he was given a time of respite when he was blind to kind of sit and think and allow the Lord to work in him. Barnabas encouraged Paul, who through his letters encourages us. My friends, as we celebrate the Feast of Saint Barnabas, as we celebrate the gift that is the living Word of God, as we celebrate the fact that in a moment we will share communion with him, we're called to remember our own baptism. We're called to remember that moment that the light of Christ so touched our hearts, our souls, our lives, that we were changed. And we were given what great potential to help him change the world, transform the world. And sometimes all it takes is what Barnabas did. Encouragement. Each and every day when we hear his word, when we receive the Eucharist, when we spend a moment of time alone in prayer, he encourages us to not give up hope, to not throw in the towel, to not be dampened by the challenges and the darkness that life can sometimes throw at us. He encourages us to keep going, allowing his light to shine through us. And if we allow that to work, If we help him help us, we are in a much better position to do it for one another, to encourage one another. Sometimes all it takes is a phone call to a friend who's going through a hard time. All it takes at times is for us to sit in prayer, praying for someone else, smiling at someone else, offering forgiveness to someone else, compassion to someone else, goodness to someone else. There's a part of all of us, my friends, that constantly seeks the good. You know that. In so many different ways, you seek out goodness in your own life. And that's the part of us that the Lord tries to help grow every single day. That's the part of us that's always seeking after the light. That is the part of us that is touched by him daily. All he asks us to do in a very real way is to allow that daily miracle to happen. And it can, it has, and it will. Every single time we take the time to give that moment of time to him so that his light might be shared, our light might be intensified, and the light to the world continues to be seen.